Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now here in my hands, the Vanquest Javelin 18. This is one of the newest backpacks in the Vanquest lineup. Now if you're not familiar with Vanquest, well, bottom line is you probably should be. So what we're going to do is today, we're going to set this up as my range bag. Now, it really does depend what you're trying to do and what would work well for you. For me, this is pretty much what I'm going to say is more towards my handgun range bag. Now, whether you're going with handguns, rifles, shotgun, it just depends what you're gonna need. So for me, this Javelin 18's about right for the handgun scenario. And so in today's video, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you what I've been carrying in my range bag and what's really got me started into firearms. So with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Vanquest who did provide this for review. And so if you've been following Vanquest, you realize this is sort of a new take on the Javelin. It's sort of a hybrid between the traditional shoulder bag and backpack that Vanquest has come out with in the past. Now, the Javelin was always a single shoulder bag. The Trident, a two shoulder bag. Well, this Javelin 18 can be either. And in reality, I've been using these bags, whether it's been the Javelin series or the Trident series, for a long time. Now, here in my hands, this is the Trident 32. Here in my hands, again, the Javelin 18. So this bag here is just about double the size of this bag. So if this is a little bit tight for you, well, fear not, you do have the ability to go to a larger size, and at that point you definitely would not want a single sling, like single shoulder sling style bag. So having two straps on the Trident is going to work out pretty well. So if you like the concepts that I'm talking about today, but you need a little bit more space, well, you should definitely take a look at the Trident 32. And so even though I'm setting up this Javelin 18 today, I will at times go to the Trident for the exact reasons that I'm going to talk about. Now, first, this is very compact. So if you think you're going to be carrying a ton of stuff in here, you're not really. You're just going to have the essentials. The things that you need for a day trip, a quick trip to the range, the things that you're going to need for hearing protection, eye protection, your ammo. And again, I'm talking about handguns. If you were going with a ton of shotgun shells, they're probably not going to fit. But a couple hundred rounds of 9mm or your handgun ammo, this is going to be just fine. So again, all of your PPE, but also maybe some basic medical supplies. I mean, always having some basic things with you is going to come into play. You hope it's not, and especially medical supplies, but you never know. So having some good things in your range bag that could help you in a pinch, that's a must. But the main thing for me, the ability to carry all of my gear and efficiently. The place I'm going to start is actually on the very inside of this bag. What I like about Vanquest products the most, their organization is literally second to none. They do it about the best. There are other companies out there, but Vanquest really has a knack for it. Their designers are excellent, and they really think about the need, the overall sort of field use, and how a product's going to be put to use, and that definitely shows in the layout of their bags. And so here you'll see the inside of this Javelin High Vis. Now I already have this set up with these padded dividers. These do come with the bag. You can get them as an accessory if you wanted to split this out more. I have set this up into just about 4 equal, evenly distributed spaces. Not quite, they are fine-tuned for my specific need, but the entire inside here lined with Velcro. Now that's critical. The key to me is that a lot of your accessories and the things that you really can use for the firearms application have Velcro lined backing, and those work extremely well inside the Javelin. And so everything else from their pocket layout and all the other details, that will come into play. But the first thing for me, well, again, this is kind of like a handgun bag. So, well, how do I store my handguns? Now, at this particular time, I have two. They are micro compacts, but whether these were full-size handguns or compact, they should pretty much fit. Now, what I have opted to do is leverage a couple of sort of, and I would say they're like Velcro-backed holsters two different types. Now the first one I'm going to show you here, this is actually a Vanquest product. So you can get these straight from Vanquest, and they are adjustable. So pretty much they are completely universal. Now they're not going to keep the firearm completely safe from discharging. They kind of don't do the best job in terms of protecting the trigger. But I guess what I'm saying is, you're going to the range. You're not necessarily going to be using this setup for like a CCW scenario. So in reality, having a little bit of a lack of a trigger guard, in my opinion, is not a huge deal. You can see it will do it, but this is sort of like a soft bungee. So you do need to make sure that your firearms are clear and safe. I have everything clear, no magazine. So for me, this is just about transporting my firearms, not about really necessarily keeping it safe. And so you can set these to different sizes. Now you can see here I do have a mounted firearm light, and this will go in there no problem, and I can take it out. So when you get these mounted inside your bag, you kind of need to think about how they're going to fit in here. Now I have a second holster. This is actually made by the company Vertex. So I do end up with a couple of different designs here, but again, this working very well. This is a universal design, and this does a little bit of a better job protecting your trigger. Either way you go, these will definitely get the job done, Velcro backed, and they fit inside the Javelin perfectly. And so here, as you look down into the bag, you can see I have opted to go with just a little bit of that kind of like yin-yang design. Works well for me, and it kind of protects these from banging together too much. I end up with my rubberized grip just kind of pushing a little bit against the slide, one gun to the other, but it's not a huge deal, and it doesn't bother me. I found these are perfectly protected, and you can see here, I've basically gotten this about as tight as I can to fit the two handguns. Now, keeping in mind these are fairly compacted, at the same time, if you had longer guns or a longer slide, they would still fit in here pretty well. So I don't see there being any real constraints to the size of the firearm for the most part, as long as it's a handgun. Now next for me, electronic earmuffs. I've been using these for a while. I actually covered these in a prior review, so absolutely perfect. Now these going down and inside to one of the compartments, no problem. Well, what about my glasses? There are a couple of different places where these can go, but I do at this point just keep them on the inside. So filling up another one of my compartments, you'll see here that basically at this point I have both my hearing protection down inside and then my safety glasses, so that's working out pretty nice. And so what about ammo? Well, personally I have opted to carry these MTM cases. So this is 100 rounds. It's a little bit more spread out than what happens in your standard boxes, but there is a reason for me doing this, and I kind of prefer this layout. And I have these so that they fit literally perfectly down and inside the bag. Now, two of these fit really nice side by side, and I still have the ability to put a couple of boxes of ammo right inside in one of these compartments. And so here you can see a couple boxes of ammo. So these are 50 rounds each. So that's 100 rounds, and then two 100 round boxes of these MTM cases. So here, I mean, more than enough for me for a single trip to the range, but that right there is 300 rounds, and that works out pretty well. So you can see here again, some ammo, my handguns, my PPE. Well, here what I've opted to do, and this actually works out pretty well, I like to preload some magazines and then get them set inside here. And so again, leveraging some additional Vanquest products. Well, here you can see this is one of their sort of magazine pouches. Very straightforward. You can actually just set these right into the elastic bands, so that works out pretty well. Now you'll notice I have a couple of different sizes, each one of my handguns leveraging a slightly different size magazine, so getting these in there, but they both fit very well. So usually what I do is I'll set up my magazines, I'll get them preloaded. You can see I got a couple of them ready to go. This one just not quite yet, but here, getting these set inside. And that way when I get to the range, I have some that are already ready to go. I don't need to mess around with loading my mags. Now here, this is a little bit more of an EDC style organizer, but at the same time, it fits the mags no problem. So again, getting these set up here, very straightforward and very easy. And I like this because when I get to the range, I'm already preloaded, I'm ready to go, and I have some nice and at the ready. Now again, I could load this up just a little bit more. I could probably get a second stack in here. If I wanted to, I could actually slide some boxes of ammo on this side. So that would actually kind of work out there. If I wanted to, I could put these in here. So there's a couple different ways I can approach this. What I do tend to do, and keep in mind, because I'm, filming and I need some extra equipment, sometimes I'll put some of my extra little camera gear in there. That works out pretty nice, and just a little extra space. But if you needed to, you could put some gloves. If it was an outdoor range, you could put gloves and a hat, different things that you'd need. So there is still plenty of space in here, but for the most part, this working out very well, nice and organized. And the other thing that I like is when I do get to the range, I can just open this up and everything's nice and displayed, no problem. Everything's protected, organized, and it's laid out in front of me as I get myself set up. Now, alternatively, if you had like a cleaning kit and you wanted to bring a cleaning kit with you, I bought this particular kit for the exact reason being, well, that does fit nicely inside my range bag. So at this point, plenty of room, everything fitting in here nicely. Vanquest always does a fantastic job with their zippers. You'll see here the zipper tracks run very nice and smooth, and zipping that all up with ease. Now you will notice that there's this little white Velcro marker on here. This just indicates the side of the bag that I want to open up so that everything's displayed the way that I need. This bag is pretty much ambidextrous, so you can set it up either way. So you'll notice the exact same enclosure on both sides. I really don't want to open this upside down. Now the other thing you'll notice is I also have this snapped shut. This has these little sort of security tabs. You do have the ability to lock the zippers, but also an additional added feature. If you wanted extra security, you can kind of take these, loop them through. You can snap that into place. And then if you have something like a luggage lock, well, that works out very well, where these can actually be locked together, which is awesome because where this is being used for firearms, you may potentially need a lock. And for me, this has worked out perfectly because, well, now I'm safe. I can store this if I need to store it in my vehicle, if I even need to store it temporarily at my house. So this meets many objectives from security, safety, storage, and at the end of the day meets the letter of the law. But the other thing that I do, well, while I'm filming, I actually leverage a couple of key things here. So first, I leverage this clip, and you'll see, because this has different lashing points, I am able to leverage different hardware to help me out. So this little sort of clip setup I have here works out very well, where I have my camera mounts and tripods and the things that I use to actually film while I'm at the range. And I found that, well, this literally works just about perfect. So as long as I get my zippers out from underneath there, I'm good to go. Sliding that into place, and this entire thing snaps in just so nicely on the side of my bag. So if you had anything like a small tripod, maybe some sort of stand or support or different apparatus that you need while you're going to the range, this will work out very well. And this worked out literally perfectly for me, where now it's just perfect on the side of the bag. Now another little thing that I've done in the back here, this is really meant to be a CCW compartment. So it is Velcro lined on the inside. You could potentially put your handgun here. I found as though this gets a little bit tight, and especially where I need 2 handguns in this bag. However, I do have some of these little sticky dots, which I found sometimes helps me get the target nice and flat on the mounts inside the range. So I do bring a pack of these, and I just kind of slide these in there. Now, theoretically, could you maybe fold up a couple targets and put them in there? Yeah, could. It's not ideal. Maybe it just depends on what you're doing. But just keep in mind the fact that you do end up with this nice slim pocket in the back. So if you have a need for that, it is coming in handy. Now on the front of the bag, here is some nice organization. You'll notice the sort of admin section. Now what I do is a couple of things. I will actually bring my little sort of laser. So this is a bore laser that I use. Sometimes it is helpful to have one of these as a tool while you're at the range. If you're using something like a red dot or some sort of optic, sometimes these lasers will definitely come into play if you're trying to zero them. And this to me is something that I just bring with me. So popping it in there, no problem. Sometimes people do like to train with snap caps or things like that. So I do keep these all separate from my other ammo so I can't accidentally mix it up, but I will put those in there. And the other thing I do, I usually have some redundant hearing protection. So different options. These are some simple earplugs. I'll pop these in like that. Here, these are some decibels. Now, I covered these in a prior video. Very nice custom molded earplugs. These work out extremely well. So maybe you don't want the earmuffs, or maybe you want to just double up because inside an indoor range, it can be very loud, and I do double up, so I'll wear these and the earmuffs. So I toss these right in here. And the nice thing is, when I get to the range, I don't need to open the bag completely. I literally just open this up, pop these out, put them in my ears, and then I can enter into the range. And once I get in, then I pull the rest of the stuff out. But that working out very well. And the next part of it, well, this segment of the bag, again, very nice. Now, what I have opted to do is carry some medical supplies. So here, just a real basic kit, but I do have a tourniquet, which there are a number of different styles that you can utilize, bandages, absorbent pads, and some quick clot. So I'm hoping to never have to use this, but I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So these fit very nicely in the front of this pocket here, no problem, and very fast and easy to get to. And the other nice thing about the outside of the bag, well, this pocket can be marked. So here I'm going to put this little medical pouch there, so this morale patch, and also my blood type. So if there was a problem, I at least have a little bit of sort of identification on this pocket so that, well, A, I can just shout to somebody to search inside here, or, well, hopefully they're at least able to identify my blood type. So overall, this works out pretty well. And then in this segment, well, pretty straightforward. I do take notes while I'm at the range, so my notebook fits right in here. It's getting a little bit snug. You can see that at some point you do end up with a little bit of competition of space, but that working out pretty well. And I do generally carry some markers and writing utensils. The markers are sweet because you can mark up your targets as you're working through your progression. Maybe you want to keep track of things. Maybe you want to sort of see which round you've shot and compare it from round to round to round. I do that almost every single time I shoot, and then having some pens and the ability to write is always helpful. So pretty straightforward, not a ton to it, but at the same time, simple, laid out, very nice, easy, effective, and everything in one nice, tidy package. And of course, again, when you're going into the range, usually you have your hands full. So the fact that this is a nice and tidy backpack has worked out just nice for me. So at this point, I can easily just throw this on my back. Again, I've already said I have the ability just to go in, pull out my earplugs, get them put in. If I wanted to, I could actually attach my glasses to the outside, which I do quite often. And this leaves my hands free for all of my cases. So if I'm walking in now with multiple things, well, my hands are at least free enough to carry my cases, and this has worked out just nice. So Vanquest and the Javelin 18, perfect for a nice little range bag. And so again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Vanquest for providing this for review. If you want to see this bag and other Vanquest products in full detail, do me a favor, go to my Outer Limitless channel, which is my primary channel. Here on the Outer Limitless 2 channel, well, more tailored towards the firearms and tactical application, but my Outer Limitless channel more geared towards the outdoor excursions, EDC, everything from backpacks, knives, axes, flashlights, shelter systems, you name it, that's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. But again, the Javelin 18, absolutely fantastic. Now, whether or not you're going to run this with 2 shoulders or 1 shoulder, depending on what you want to do, you can absolutely do that. For me, the two shoulders working out a little bit better. By the time you load this up, it does get to be a little bit weighty. It's got some heft. It's not heavy, but it's just heavy enough that I think having the two shoulder straps is going to work to your advantage. Now, Vanquest doing an absolutely beautiful job with all their padding, their shoulder straps, the nice grab handles, the ability to organize everything just beautifully, and then all the way to literally all the details on the inside, the organization, that high-vis material. Vanquest products, absolutely fantastic, and that's the case here with the Javelin 18. And so, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.